Moments for so. Alright, this is one of my favorite aha moments for so many people, and I feel like it's really easy to gloss over, so I want to see if I can make it make sense. But you have probably heard the idea of using your glute max in the back of your hip and your abs in the front of your pelvis to control your pelvis position, where we want your glutes to pull back or pull down in the back and your abs to pull up in the front, and together they create a balance that keeps your pelvis from tucking under or from tilting too far forward. But if you're one of the people who tends to stand like this, where your upper body is shifted forward relative to your lower body, then you have a motor control issue in your hip, meaning that your brain doesn't orchestrate your hip movement in an effective way. So instead, you are standing this way, okay, where your hip flexors in the front of your hip and your back muscles are what's controlling your pelvis. And when you try to stretch in that position, you don't get a stretch of your hip flexors, because you're still, like if you're in that lunge position and you're trying to stretch your hip flexors, you're going to move through the movers that you have, your hip flexors and your back muscles. And neither one of those are going to create a good stretch for the front of your hip. So instead, we take you out of this upright position where your brain already has an ineffective strategy, and we put you in a different position so that your brain can find a new strategy. And oftentimes what works really well is to lay down, because then you have the support of the floor and you can learn to find your glute max and to stretch out the front of that hip. And then as you start to get better activation and control over your glute max, as you start to get a little bit more length in your hip flexors, then you can progress from lying on the floor to more upright and more functional positions. When you're upright and you put your foot on a stool, you're getting good glute max activation, and you might be able to start feeling your abs. And then as you start to go into positions where you're face down towards the floor, then you're getting more active ab activation to pull up away from the floor. And in this way, you can build those pieces together: glute max strength, hip flexor length, ab strength, and get a good stretch of your hip flexors. But if you're not feeling it in that half lunge position, it's probably a brain issue, and you got to do some rewiring, and all of that makes a major difference for your pelvic floor, because being stuck forward like this is going to tend to turn off the back of your pelvic floor.